Welcome to the dungeon with Harlan and Andrew.
All right, we are here. We are going. We are unmuted. Hopefully you are this time too, Andrew. And
I think I am.
with another episode of The Dungeon, the show where we talk about TTRPGs and we interview folks who make and run TTRPGs. So I'm Harlan Kelly.
I'm Andrew Orvidal.
And this week we have
hello.
Kaz The DM as our guest. So thank you so much for joining us, Kaz.
No worries, it's a pleasure.
Yeah,
Especially all the way from the UK.
From the UK, yeah.
Mm.
And I found your work just from trolling around on Twitch, looking for people making cool things, and I heard you describe some of your campaign setting, and I was like, whoa, that's very cool. I want to know more about that.
Oh.
Maybe you would like to come and talk to us. So before we jump into that, though, we do start every episode of The Dungeon with the same question here for DMs. So how did you get into tabletop role-playing games?
So I used to be in a band. This was when I was 18, turning. I think I just turned 18, and I told a few of like my bandmates if they wanted to try D&D, because like I noticed the band was like schisming. We were falling apart. We weren't getting anywhere with like the music we were writing or anything. And although I got on well with the singer and the bassist, the drummer and the other guitarists were looking like they were on their out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all right, we'll try play D&D to get into things. And so I made my own version of D&D because I had no internet like over one weekend. So I had to like make based on the idea of, they use dice. It's like you role play and it's improv. Okay, I can do this. So I had like 3 different documents like for like monsters, character classes, and rules. And we tried it one session, and it went awful. I did not like it at all. I hated it. And then my friend Jacob, the singer, he's like, I used to play D&D as a kid, and so like he waited till I did all of this, and like, oh yeah, I actually did play, so you didn't even need to do any of this. So he takes me to his room, and under his bed he has like just boxes full of PDFs and like printed PDFs of original Dungeons and Dragons and like original scans that his dad had of like AD&D and so he just like covers his entire bed with all of this like just information, and like we're just like flicking through the art and stuff, and it was insane. But then we started playing in uni, and that's how I started.
Wow, I
Nice.
love that you started as a game designer. Like you were
Yeah,
right into you have to be a designer. You can't even just you can't even just like learn the rules and run it for your friends. You have to design. Yeah.
Design the whole system. Wow, that is crazy. Did it work? Did it save the band?
No, the band fell apart. Like,
okay,
it fell apart before we even like got the first session in. Which honestly, it was fine. I fell out with the drummer and the singer. I mean, the drummer and the guitarist anyway. And like, I still talk to the singer and the bassist. We're still very close. So like, that's still cool. Like that we're still friends. Like every now and then I'll see Jacob, and we used to play D&D every summer until COVID hit. So like, that was also nice.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it's funny that you say that, because like with me playing D&D and like starting and stuff, it's always been, I just threw myself into the deep end, like even DMing.
Yeah.
Like I played for like a few months and I'm like, this is fun, but I feel like I'd enjoy DMing more. And like I asked at the uni because I was in the D&D society, and they're like, I asked, can I run a game? Like, oh yeah, go on. And like I didn't know about the rules and stuff, and I said, no, just throw yourself in. And so I did. And like I fell in love with it. I haven't stopped.
Yeah, it's good advice, because I mean, I tell everybody who is like learning to play or starting to run the games, I'm like, don't learn all the rules. Like, it's don't let that be the barrier. Don't feel like you need to know everything when you play. Just figure it out as you go along.
Yeah,
that's the fun.
No, exactly.
Yeah, for me at least. Even now, when I feel like I know so much of it, like finding spots where I'm like, I don't know, let's just go with this. It's the best stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, like sorry, go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like with my players, like my various groups of players, I tell them like, I'll give you guys the choice. Like, well, sometimes I'll not know a rule, so we'll discuss about the rule quickly. But generally, common sense will, or my personal common sense will overrule anything until we actually find out the actual. And even then, sometimes it's like the jumping mechanic, we hate it. So like, just roll athletics or dexterity.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, some of them, they're more fun to hand wave. And Harlan most recently made up a rule. It's like the most inconsequential rule ever. For crits, where they were like, you can either double your dice or double the total, but you can't tell me what you do. And it seems like, I wonder, it's gotta be a secret. It's absolutely inconsequential. It's just like a fun version of the rule, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that on like on damage specifically, or
just on crits, on crit damage?
Because like if you crit, like some people play it where if you crit, you roll twice the amount of dice you were supposed to, and some people roll it. Yeah, you roll and you roll the damage, or you roll the regular amount and you just double whatever you roll in dice.
Yeah.
And then some people do it where you max the damage die and then you roll on top of that or whatever. So I think there's just so many ways. I've just enjoyed being like,
do as you please.
Keep it do what you want.
You're the crit master. Yeah.
No, that's actually really cool. Like, I did a similar thing with rolling stats, where like I let in my West Marches game, I let them choose to do one point by standard array or 4d6 keep the top three. And like, because like the way I see that is like that's them like choosing, do they have good genetics? Are they like thrust into adventuredom, or are like they just some standard a guy who wanted to start adventuring?
I've never thought about that. That's very cool. I've never thought about it as like a narrative choice. Like, do you come from like training and everything, so you just have like good skills all around? That's very cool. I like that. So speaking of which, what games are you running right now? Can you tell us about the games that you're working on, or the things you're working on?
Yeah. So I mean, there's the one you guys raided in on. Throne Atop Sand, which is my streamed game, and I do that every 2 Sundays. And currently we're streaming. I've just started the second stream, which is another game. It's a side story of the main campaign.
Nice.
It's just a small 3-part story. And so I got about those 2 main games, but there's also a West Marches game I run with my community. And that's like I try to do 3 sessions a month, but like we're currently on hiatus because I needed to prep with the other campaigns.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, because you do your own homebrew setting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Will you tell us about the folks about that?
Yeah, it's called Shreleo. It's a non-Eurocentric setting based on Japanese and Indian mythology, and like mainly Indian superstition, if anything. Actually, not Indian mythology per se, but just like a lot of like cultural things I've been brought up into, and I've brought that into the world, and like it's just an extra bit of flavor that I think adds to
like bringing the truth to the superstition that you
exactly like I think it's a very fun way to like incorporate these just things that I've grown up hearing and making them less fantastical or less like not fake but like less like adding more to them, like making and then like sharing them with other people. Like there's a superstition I always talk about. It's spoons. In like my mom would always tell me, don't never have a spoon like the bowl of the spoon facing upwards, because if there's like a demon outside the house or something's outside the house and it sees that, it'll think, oh, I can come in and I can have some food, and so I'll stay because there'll always be food. And so like my mom would always say, or one, make sure there's no food on the spoon in the first place, and then make sure it's tipped over. And so I when I started world building, the first bits of like mythology I was building for Shreleo, the first thing I thought was, I'm gonna have this come into the world, and so like it's like bowls of food. When it's served, like you keep getting more, but like once you finish, you have to flip the bowl over, because if you don't flip it over, these 4-winged cranes called Lako, which are also familiar of the gods, they'll come and they will just eat everything. And they'll ransack your pantry. They'll ransack every bit of food you have, because you didn't flip this bowl. And then they'll just leave.
Have you told your mom about that?
I haven't, no. But like it's just little things like I'll hear her say something and I'll just remember it. Yeah, I should just sit down and ask her to tell me more.
Yeah,
right.
You should. Yeah,
I like that. That is great. I mean, that is a great bit of superstition.
Yeah, I love that flavor stuff too, because it's like I feel I do that with like just even like little Midwestern things, you know, just of my life growing up, where I'm like,
yeah,
you know, just like people talk about like the wood, you know, like my dad would just like give me, you know, like, hey, if you see a mountain lion, this is what you do, kind of thing. Not that there were a lot of mountain lions in the woods of Indiana, but like, it's just like those things because they feel real. Like when people hear them, even if they didn't grow up with them, when you hear them, it just feels so real. And then you're like, or demon birds show up, and you're like, yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, like it's funny because like I think I was talking to a friend about like how like other countries have mythology and like the folklore that has come from like all these years. But then, like, when you like look at America, a lot of it is about like cryptids, and like their folklore is very recent. So like that's like bringing that in, and like you can so like that's my whole thought process on like stuff like this in my D&D games, like homebrewing and creating mythology. Like it's like I'll see things in my real life, and they'll be like, oh, that's what can I do? How can I like twist this and make it more spicy essentially for this, and like today, actually, on my walk, before the stream, I saw like just a bundle of sticks, and I was thinking, what if like I could, like, just a bundle of sticks, just on the side under a tree, wrapped in some cloth. I'm like, that's really weird. Like I don't know why it's weird to me. It just is.
Yeah.
So what if that was like some like monster like uses like that's how the monster like sets, that's its territory. So you can try and like move those, and then the monster will go away. But if you don't move or get caught doing that, what happens?
That's so good.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like the door in the woods thing. It was like an internet meme for a while, or just like a horror meme about like people finding doors in the woods. I remember reading that like as an adult, and it scared the shit out of me because I just like grew up in the woods of Indiana, and like you would just find old cars or like you know, like just like trash that was but like looked very out of place, you know, and it was so spooky as a kid.
But that's the fun of it, isn't it? And like that's like, I think that's what's cool thing about like using these as inspiration for world building, because like you experiencing in real life, it's weird and it's strange. So in like a fantasy world, what is scary and strange there? Like kind of like this place has magic, this place has demons. They know demons exist, they know gods exist. How do you make things fantastical and strange and spooky there? And so I think it's a very fun way and like really cool way to world build, and like bringing in like these things from real life and like adding that to the fantasy of things, and like creating folklore through like these ideas that like are strange and weird.
That's very well said. That's so fun.
Love it.
Andrew, have you ever done that? Like, have you ever taken something that was like from your like actually scared you a little bit and then put it in the game?
I've definitely, it's similar to what Kaz is describing. You come along and see something weird and pluck it and use it in a game. I'm trying to think of a specific example, and I'm drawing a blank at the moment. But I have definitely done that, especially in an environment like the mountains. If I'm up like roaming around the mountains, like on a hike or something, and I'll see like a rock that seems to have a crack in it, I'm like, oh, what if that was like this rock parted in two and it was like the secret entrance to a tomb if you did this or that. It's like little things like that. I think a lot of DMs, they're always at least secretly passively running in DM mode, where they're like always be working on at least one of your campaigns, because you probably have a few games going. I'm keeping I've got these notes apps on my phone, and there are so many ideas on there. It's crazy from walking around and being like, oh yeah, that'd be cool.
So funny, because like I had a very similar experience when I was playing Minecraft one day. I think it was at the beginning of like the stream game, before like I had like the idea for the story. But I was just playing, and like I saw like this mountain, and it had like a little one block slit through, and like in there was just a cave of like full of zombies and like skeletons. I'm like, oh that's kind of weird, that's kind of scary. And so let me just note that down, and like that's This goes into another time. Like, is it cool? Do you don't mind that I go off on?
Oh no, that's what we just want to hear. About your games, about your thought process. That's it. So go for it.
Because and like using games and like just stuff like that as like inspiration, and like just these randomly procedural things as inspiration for different ideas. And so like that Slit Mountain was like based like similar to your experience, Andrew, was really cool, and like that's inspired like the main story arc of this one game, which is wild to me. But also like, have you guys ever played Civ before?
No, I've watched people play it. I haven't played it myself. Like the Civilization,
yeah.
It's
I recommend if you ever struggling with like building history for settings, is you just like load a game of Civ, get the cheapest copy you can, because like you don't need anything fancy about it, but like just get a copy of Civ and just play, and like you just see how these like wars and like just these settlements come up, and like just like stories around, and like it's very basic in like the game terms. Oh, you just put a city next to this river, you just put a city over here, and there's like armies come in and like, they start fighting you, and I would just like take that and add flavor to it and use that as like inspiration for like moments of history in my setting. And like it's a very, I think it's a very fun way to like not even like think about it, like you just like aim, you're just playing a game, and so like this is just like passive world building.
I've done that with FTL. I feel like just even that little, have you ever played that? Like it's just like a location hopper. It's a very simple like you got to protect your ship and keep your ship upkeep and like try and make a dolly spot. Like I've done it with those, and like really anything. I feel like most of the time when I'm not writing game stuff, I'm just like tooling around, like kind of like fishing for something that will do it. Man, do you know Matt Colville? Are you a fan of his? Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, I do know Matt Colville. I love him.
One of my favorite things I've ever seen that he did was one of his like this like huge long video series about like politics streams before he just like did streams, and he was just like, I'm just going to show you how I like make up this political system. He took the board for diplomacy, like the board game diplomacy, and he was like, okay, so because all these different countries are touching, they all have different relationships to each other because of that. So I'm just going to squish this together and then write like which one would have a relationship with each different one because of their geographic location, and I'm just going to make this my own thing now, like using this board. And I was like, that's the coolest. That's just like this such a like, here's the outline, just go like start filling it in, because as soon as you fill in like a couple of dots, then it's like, wait, that means that this and this and this. So fun.
And like it's like just having like just this thing to just push you in an idea, cause like using the game of Civ as well, like, or using like Faster Than Light, like just these little events that happen to inspire a snowball effect that leads to this entire like political like or like the geopolitics of this entire thing. Totally. But like it's wild how like you have that moment where like you're just like you're not DMing, but you're always DMing. I think that's one of my favorite, like that's one of the reasons why I do enjoy the hobby is like just anything I see can actively inspire me. And like the most recent arc in Throne of Top Sands, for example, like I was saying to my players how like you can tell when I watch certain animes or when I'm watching certain things, because you'll see in the art I'm showing or in the events that are happening, it's like it's based on like this, or like it's heavily inspired by this. So I'm like, you can tell I was watching Evangelion, or I just finished watching Evangelion in this most recent arc, because there's a lot of mechs.
Yeah, I love it.
That's awesome.
This is kind of off topic, but I've been watching this show called The Last Kingdom on Netflix that I just happened to come by. And in the second season, there's a king who has a throne that is 100% based on Akira's throne in Akira. He has his throne and it has this like jagged crack that comes down from it. And I was like, there's no way they weren't sneaking this in as an Akira Easter egg. It has to be.
I love when like you're watching stuff though, like, and you see just Easter eggs for everything in other stuff you love in what you're watching. Like, I see that. I know what you're doing there.
I felt that way about watching The Mandalorian, because I was like, this is an RPG. Like, this is just this. Like, not that. I mean, like, it's RPGs didn't invent like story structure, but like the amount of like quest. Like how it's so quest
constant side quests.
Yeah. I was like, this is like these guys were playing RPGs together, and it was true. They talked about it. Like,
And like that, I always just imagine like that. What if these shows were actually just them playing D&D or something?
Yeah.
And like that's how they writ the entire story. And I'm like, yeah, no, it makes sense. Cause I'm like, I was thinking of writing some like short stories based on my games. A while back. And like, no, this makes sense. This will work.
Because it's even like I write stories just kind of as a habit, a hobby. It's a habit that I've tried.
It just
to write.
happens.
Story writing, I can't stop.
Novels just come out of my
just sitting there. But I do enjoy writing, but that's just one person's perspective. I have to project my perspective into every character and all their motivations and all their actions. Whereas in a D&D game, it is a group story, and every player has their own perspective and they're bringing their own motivations and actions in. So I think you do wind up, especially if the game is very good and the players are all like firing on all cylinders, you'll wind up with a more comprehensive and interesting story than I think just one person would be able to tell, because it is being told from unique perspectives, all intersecting. So I think you do get a cool story for sure.
Yeah, truly. Do you, Kaz, do you ever like, I find myself when I'm like making a world, I kind of like forget at times that some of these things, like some of these people are just like, people I made up, because I'm just like kind of like get so
you get really into it.
Yeah, like the 4 NPCs that started on the ship that our crew started in the 2+ year game that we've been running. I like have them, so I like know what they think about and like think and feel about things, and I'm just like, these aren't like fictional characters that people know. They're just because
they are you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I remember when we started playing the Better Than Heroes game, I was talking to this person I was dating at the time, and I was telling them about this character that Harlan had come up with, and they're like, yeah, but they're not real, right? And I was like, yeah, but they seem real to me. They are, they are real within the context of this game. But yeah, it was, it's like trying to relate a Saturday Night Live sketch to someone after the fact. It's hard to translate. Talking to someone who is not into role-playing games about an amazing role-playing game moment, it's hard to pull off for sure.
No, I get it completely. Which is actually why I'm glad. Sorry, go on.
No, you go for it.
It's one of the reasons why I'm glad like I stream the game, when there's people that do watch the stream and they talk about the session, I don't need to like go over the entire like plot and the story. They already they saw it, they knew what happened.
Truly the greatest honor is just like people remembering the things that you I know sometimes like it's just like a couple of times people have figured things out in chat before the players did, or just like mentioned, they're like, oh, that's connected to this because of that, and I'm just like, oh, thank you, it's so kind.
It's the best feeling. Going back to the question, I do very much like forget to like that my characters are not real people, especially with the way I write characters now. I have like a list of like what would be a song that embodies them. Like I'll have in like this like it's like their name, the various titles that they would have from like in like political relations, or like just like friends, or like just NPCs that like would know them, or like just their position in the world. Then like it's a very basic, or I try to be very basic about it. It was like their backstory and like how they got to this point in the adventure. And then like the song that would embody them, and then their mannerisms in like how they would fight, how they walk, how they like do just general things, and what their magic would look like if they ever cast magic. And
that's
then
so
like
cool. That's so cool that you like the song thing is like amazing, because you're right, it like gives them a snapshot. Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's like caused me to like essentially like I always know what this character's thinking. Yeah. But then and then it's forgetting like this is a fictional character,
right?
And like remembering that is like
I feel like that's the thing that always happens to me is I'm like, I can't just like wait for this character to tell me. I have to I have to like think about it in my mind and make a decision for them.
And like, especially at the like I'm glad like at the table where like it's I'm able to create a boundary in that sense where like I have the link into one of into the character's mind. I just need to like, I am passing this information to them.
Right.
And they're like
It
behind the barrier.
game.
I was going,
Yeah. But you have to like
So,
give
like,
them things. Yeah.
mm-hmm. And luckily, like I feel like I've gotten very good at like knowing like this actually is what I learned from interviewing tips where like having a glass of water on the side just so you can think.
Yeah.
And like whenever I talk to new DMs, like I always say, you don't feel like you have to always, even if you know this character from A to Z, you don't need to like have to have the answer all the time.
Yeah.
Think, give a moment, maybe take a sip of water to give you a reason to like take a little quick break.
Yeah, and I'll say that out loud to players sometimes too. I'm like, ooh, I don't know what this person thinks about this. Let me think about it first. I have to think about it first because I think that it's fun. Like I think players like that too, to be like, oh, we're like, pushing the boundaries of this character too.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite NPC?
I do.
Who is it?
His name is Time. I have you guys ever played Final Fantasy before? Any of the Final Fantasies?
I played a few of them, yeah. I'm
way
behind though.
Yeah, I don't feel like you ever like can like catch up or anything. It's just like you play which ones you want and that's it. But like you'll know that like there's tropes that they carry through the games, like Sid, the D&D themed weapons, and like just like the names of things. And so it justified me having this thing in my games where I take tropes. And like the big tropes are the smell of lavender and orange refer to death. Forget me nots are just a thing that are always there. And herb named NPCs. So my first ever NPC I made was named Sage because I panicked. Like in the moment we happened, because like this was literally on session 0. We skipped into the game and like they asked, oh, what's this character's name? Like and I was looking at his background, Sage. Like, oh, his name's Sage. But then I realized that's a herb. And so now I have like NPCs like Parsley is another one, and Time is my is the one is my favorite NPC. And he's basically a homeless samurai Echo Knight wizard.
Hell yeah, let's go.
He's so cool.
Wandering the world.
He is, and like it's my favorite thing because like the pie, like he's like there's so much mystery around him. And like when I chat with my players, they keep just like they want to like learn more about him, and they'll talk about the various like ideas they have with me. And I'm like, okay, I can't say nothing to you, but like you might be onto something, and you might not be onto something, and that's still fun. And like, and so I'm just like excited when they next meet him because I know when I give them time to think of questions to ask him, because he's so mysterious, he'll just give them more questions, and then like, and he'll come in and do some cool stuff. He'll leave before they even get a chance to ask, like, why is he doing all this cool stuff? And then he's gone. And then like they're like now they're like even like they're worried about him, like because he like what does his existence mean because these other things that have happened. And he's just a walking enigma, and I love him with all my heart. And he has a pet.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love
and
it.
like,
cool. Well,
I think my favorite thing about him. Sorry, go on.
No, go for it. Please tell us your favorite thing about him.
His Echo is his pet dog that he had when he was a wizard in training and became a samurai wizard. In my setting, the echoes of an Echo Knight are a fallen is a character's is someone who fell who died and has latched onto this person and became the Echo. And like his pet dog when he used to fight in the army, she used to fight with him, and he would be referred to as the Komainu of the West because she fought with him. Like Komainu is like a wolf line in Chinese and Japanese folklore, and so like that, like when she died, she latched onto Time, and now she appears, and she is his Echo, and it's very cute, and I love their relationship.
That's beautiful. I want to hang out with this dude.
I love it.
well, we're at the end here of our time, so do have.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no,
it flies by. No,
it's
always
great.
30 minutes. But we do have a roll table, a D20 roll table. If you don't mind rolling on it, and then we have a question. We have questions on there.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to. We'll give you a chance to plug everything one more time too. But it's just been so great to hear about your game ideas.
It's been a pleasure. I feel like there's so much information in so short amount of time. I feel bad that I was talking over everything.
No. That's
You're
what
the
it is.
guest.
By the way.
You're the guest. We want to hear from you the whole time.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. What'd you get?
I got 9.
9.
A
Right.
9.
Cool. What is it, Andrew?
Oh, okay. If you had to pick one trait that makes a great DM or game master in general, what would it be? If there's just one overall
that's a hard
trait.
Question.
Yeah,
That's the worst. That's the worst. Now hard is.
Maybe if you were going to give advice to someone like starting off, like where would you, if you like were wanting to give them just a couple of sentences of encouragement or something too. Like I don't think it has to be like a proper noun, but if you're going to push them in a direction.
Yeah.
Or even like I don't know if you get to play that much. It seems like you enjoy DMing.
Yeah.
If you've noticed something
DMing.
else that you like, you've enjoyed about someone else.
I think the one thing I would give is something because I know it's a lot of like DMs that I've spoke with or stuff. Like the combat is something they always struggle with. My advice with combat is allowing roleplay in combat and using like be narrative and like use the map is the. Here's my advice. Here's my actual advice. The world is its own character.
That's good.
That's my advice.
That's good.
Ignore the combat.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, cool. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please go follow Kaz the DM on Twitter, on Twitch. Check out his game. I've peeked into it. It's very cool. I'm gonna watch more of it. And yeah, you wanna plug anything else here?
Yeah, I'm Kaz the DM. I normally stream various bits of D&D content. I do art, so you can find me at Instagram or Twitter at Kaz the DM. I also stream that art on Twitch. And on Sundays, you can catch me streaming Thorn Top Sands, which is this non-Eurocentric setting based on Japanese and Indian mythology. And it's a wonderful time. It's based on a lot of anime, JRPGs, and just other cool stuff. And if that's something that interests you, it's full of mystery, comedy, and just adventure. If you're into that, come by. We'd love to have you.
Cool. Sounds awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks. Well, don't forget, everybody, tip your DMs, and we'll see you here on the dungeon next week, or you can come check out our Spelljammer game, which is on Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. All right, cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Later, y'all. Bye.